Hi guys, so today we're going to start off by doing our brows, and when we do our brows we're going to go in with the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Soft Brown. I'm also going to go in using the Sephora Pro Angled brush in number 22, and I'm just going to work that product into the cap of the pomade, and that just for me makes it very easy to work with. It's going to make it more pliable, it's going to warm it up, it's not going to be so stiff. I'm going to make sure I get even distribution through my brush, and that's also going to make sure I get even distribution through my brows. I'm just very into doing very light strokes, very tiny bits of product. A little bit goes a long way in my book. You know, I want a more natural look. I always like a more natural brow, and that's just how I do it. Any way you do it is fine, but we're going to fill in our brows. We're going to get them snatched. We're going to get them looking good. And then we're going to go in and we're going to carve them out. So first I'm going to go in with a spoolie, and I'm just going to make sure all that product is blended in nicely. Go in and fill in any lines that I feel like are patchy or, you know, not looking as good. I'm then going to always use the Anastasia Brow Gel. I love this brow gel. It's my favorite. It's been my go-to since I've been doing makeup. But go in with whatever brow gel, you love. And then we are going to carve the brows out. This is probably my favorite part of my makeup, is like my brows. I don't know why. It relaxes me. I'm a freak. What can I tell you? So we're going to go in and we're going to go in with I like to go in with a concealer that is closest to my skin tone. That is just what I prefer. If you want to go with a concealer that's lighter to make them pop even more, that is totally up to you and your decision, and that's fine. I just like a more natural brow, and that's just what works for me. So I'm going to go in with the Naked Skin Concealer in light neutral, and I'm going to go in with the Morphe E43 brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of product at a time from the applicator, and I'm just going to work that in right underneath my brow line, and just really softly and carefully make sure I'm carving those brows out. When you do this, you want to use tiny bits of product and make sure you're really blending it. You don't want any harsh lines. You want to make sure, as much as you're making these brows like carved out and like snatching them up, you really want to make sure you're also blending it, because if you have too harsh of a line or too much product, it's going to get into your brows. It's going to mess up the product you just put on your brows, and it's just going to look a mess. So tiny bit of product, a little bit at a time, work it in, blend it in, and you're going to love the finished effect. A lot of people fully carve their brows out. They go above the brow, they go to the side of the brow. They fully outline their brow and carve it out. And that's what carving your brow out means, by the way. It's like outlining your brow with a concealer to clean up any messes. I don't know whatever. I felt like I needed to explain that. But I personally don't go fully like around my full brow. I really just do underneath my brow and like the side of my brow and like the front, because I just feel like when you do the top, you really create like a really sharp, harsh brow. And as beautiful as that is, I'm not saying that it's not beautiful. It's just not what I was going for today, and it's not something that I do on the daily. So I usually don't do that, honestly. And I'm just going to blend it out with the same E43 brush and just make sure that I got most of the concealer blended in. Not all of it, but most of it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other tips I have for brows. But like really that's it. Just make sure you blend them. Make sure you're using tiny bits of product at a time. I always then go in with the Morphe sponge, and I really just fully blend it in now. And this is what I'm saying. If you put too much product underneath your brow, it's going to be a little difficult for you to get under there and blend it out without pushing that product into your brow, which is going to totally ruin the look that you were going for in the first place. So like I said, just try to use as tiny bit of product as you can and really blend it and work it in as much as possible. It's going to make your life way easier in the long run. So yeah, after that, I'm going to, go in, I'm going to, use my spoolie, make sure that there's no product in my brows. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to fix up anything that I see. And by doing that, I always go in with a lighter color when I'm doing that. And I like to go in with, if I do not have the Brow Wiz by Anastasia, I will go in with the NYX Professional Makeup Micro Brow Pencil in color, what color is this? In the color Chocolate. And I'll just go in and I'll just make sure any sparse areas that I have, I'll just make sure that they're filled in. I'll make sure that there's no product on my brows. And I'll just like make sure that, you know, they're how I want them to look. So yeah, I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. And I'm going to disperse this through my brows. I'm going to make sure they're evenly coated. I'm going to make sure that the hairs are going in the direction I want them to go in. I like for the front of the brow to be going straight up, and obviously the mids of the brow going to, you know, either side, and the corners, edge of my brows to be going down. I like to make sure I have enough product on so that they are going to stay and put all day, and this product is probably the best brow gel that's out there. So yeah, I'm then going to go back in with the E43 brush by Morphe and just make sure all that concealer is blended in. I am then going to take whatever is left over from me blending, you know, those brows in with the E43 brush, and I'm going to go in with the Morphe sponge and just blend all of that down through my brow, through my eyelid, and I'm just going to make sure that that is all blended nicely, and I'm going to create a base with that. I'm then going to go in with a fluffy brush, and at this point I'm using the Sigma E35, and I'm going to pick up some translucent powder, and I'm using the Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in Fair. I'm just going to, you know, lightly dust that over my eyes just to set everything, make sure there's no creases, and it's going to make it very easy for you to go in with some eyeshadow after this, because if you go in with like a wet concealer or any kind of primer on your eyes, it's going to make it really difficult to blend that color out. Like when you first put that color on your eyes, it's just going to be like boom, and it's going to be so hard to blend that first you know, spot where you put that color down. It's just because your eyes shadow's going to be, you know, your eyelid's going to be wet, and it's just not going to look cute. So yeah, after I do that, I'm going to pick up my favorite palette in the whole world, the Jaclyn Hill palette by Morphe. She's amazing. This palette's amazing. Morphe's amazing. So yeah, and I'm going to show you. I don't know, guys, the colors that I'm using because I lost the insert which showed what color is what, but I try to show you as best as I can. So I'm going to go in with these transition colors, and I'm going to use these on my crease. That is going to make it really easy. So I start super light. The lighter you start, the easier it is for you to build up the color. And today we're going to go in with like a really soft smoky eye. So I like to use warmer colors. You can go in with a taupier color as well. I do like that as well also, but for this look I was using warmers. So I think this color is Silk Cream that I'm going in, and I'm just really going to buff this into my crease. I'm going to buff it in, and I'm going to make sure I'm going really light-handed. You don't want to use a harsh hand when it comes to going in with your crease unless you're doing like a cut crease or something like that. But we're not doing that. We want a light, smoky, pretty eye. So we're going to go in, and I'm going to use a little bit of product at a time, and I'm going to go in as often as I need to into that palette and work that color in. So with this first color, I don't mind going a little higher or a little lower. I don't mind getting that a little bit on the lid because this is going to create a gradient effect. So each color that I go into, I'm going to keep it closer knit into my crease, and that's what's going to create that buildup and that dramatic smoky effect. I'm then going to go in with, I think at this point, I'm going in with a pointed crease brush, and that's the Morphe M441. And I know for a fact this color is pukey because this is like one of my favorite transition colors. And this I'm keeping way more in the crease. And at first I'm working it more in my outer lid and then working it in. I don't mind getting it into my inner corner because we're creating a blown out smoky look. This is going to make it a little more less cat-eyed and a little more wide-eyed, you know, daytime sexy. We're not going like super nighttime, super cat-eyed, super dramatic. We're keeping this a little more daytime acceptable. So yeah, I'm going to work that color all over my crease, but I'm really keeping it in my crease. I'm not going too high. I'm not going too low. I really want to work that crease color up. And this pukey color is actually kind of really beautiful. It's, you know, a little more orange, a little more yellow, and it really does. You know, people are afraid to use oranges and yellows for some reason, and you shouldn't be, because when it comes to smokiness and opening up the eye and brightening up the look, it really does that. Because a lot of browns and a lot of darker colors tend to close the eye. They tend to have a little bit of an ashier tone. So if you go in with a warm tone transition color, that's going to keep it from being muddy. So here I'm picking up Buns. I'm going to put that on my outer corner and I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to try to keep the darker colors at first out on my outer corner, and then I'm going to slowly bring them in. I want more of a blown out look. I think that makes it more daytime. So yeah, I'm going to go in with Buns first, and then I'm going to go in with Mocha second. Mocha is going to make it a little darker. It's going to bring more depth and dimension to the eye. And that I am really keeping on my outer corner. I'm barely bringing it even into my crease. After that, I'm going to go in. I'm going to do the same exact thing on my other eye. I'm going to bring in Buns, and then I'm going to bring in Mocha. Really making sure I blend them and I make sure that they look super smooth and blended. So when you bring in Buns, you want to make sure that you start on your outer corner and you bring it in slowly with a very light hand. It does still have the warm tone, so you don't have to worry about it making your eye look muddy, but you don't want to go too far in your inner corner and then make your eye smaller than it is. Because like I said, we're not going in with a cat eye, we're not going in with a super dark, smoky look. We're creating more of a daytime look, so we want to make sure our eyes look as open as possible. After that, we're going in with my favorite two colors. First, we're going in with Obsessed, and we're going to spray the Fix Plus on our eyeshadow brush. And this doesn't have a name or anything on it. It's from Urban Decay. It's just a shadow brush. By spraying the Fix Plus on it, you're creating more of a foiled look, and that's going to brighten it and make it a little shinier, a little brighter, and way more beautiful. I also put SBN as well from the same Jaclyn X Morphe palette, and that's just another beautiful color. I mixed the two of them together, are amazing. The two of them apart are amazing as well. So yeah, now I'm just going back in with Buns. I'm making sure everything's blended. I then go in with just the same, nothing on it, Sigma E35 brush, and make sure that that eyeshadow is blended. I then clean up my eyes. I'm going in with the Garnier Skin Active Micocell Cleansing Water, which is not my favorite. It leaves a very oily finish to it, which is just not my go-to, but it's fine, and that's what was in front of me, so that's what I used. I would prefer the mattifying one or the original one, but here we are. I then go in with the Too Faced Better Than Sex Waterproof Mascara. I coat my lashes. That's going to make your lashes stay better. It's going to help you put them on easier. It's going to make sure there's no product or eyeshadow left on your eyelashes. It just makes it easier, but I am not going to put my lashes on in this video. I just think that that's a video I can do at another time. Let me know if you want to see that. Comment down below and let me know. We'll do an in-depth lashes video, and I can show you how easy it is to put these lashes on. My favorite ones these days are the Morphe lashes. I also love the Ardell Demi Wispies, but lately Morphe's my way to go. So yeah, then we're going to go into foundation. Foundation, I'm using the Luminous Silk Giorgio Armani foundation in number 3. As you can see, I'm a bit of a mess. I forgot to prime my face, but let me tell you what else I mixed with that. I also mixed the Too Faced Born This Way, foundation and Seashell. I mix the two because I feel like Born This Way is a little thick, Giorgio is a little thin. It gives me the perfect coverage. So yeah, then I prime my face. I apparently totally forgot to do that. So I go in with, as always, with the First Sally Unicorn Essence Skin Enhancing Oil, and I rub that on with clean hands. And then I go in with my favorite primer. I am not a primer person. This primer has got me hooked. I'm using the Angel Veil Skin Perfecting Primer, and it truly is my favorite. I went a little heavy in this video. Apparently, it got a little clogged. I got a little crazy. It is what it is. You do not need this much. I usually put it on my hands, but like I said, I got like a little ahead of myself in this video, and I put the foundation on my hands before I prime my face. That is what got us into this mess. Don't do what I do. Prime your face first, people. So after I get that all buffed out, I am going to pick up the Morphe sponge, and I'm going to use the foundation that I put on my hands earlier, and that's the Giorgio Armani Luminous Skin Foundation and the Born This Way foundation mixed together, and I'm just going to buff this into the skin. And to do that, you really want to make sure you stamp it into the skin. You don't want to rub it. It's not like we're using a brush, we're using a sponge, and that just gives you a more natural finish and really make sure your skin and the foundation really melt together. So as you can see, I start off on one side and then I go to the other. I'm picking up that foundation and really stamping it into the skin, and I start in the center and I work my way out. I like a little more full coverage in the center of my face because that's where like my pores are, my redness is. I get a lot of creasing there, so I like to start there and really work my way out, and I just like to make sure I give my skin a more flawless look. So once I am done blending that foundation out, I am going to go in with the Benefit Hoola Quickie Contour Stick. And I'm just going to go around my hairline, on my cheekbones, and I'm going to blend that out. That's going to create depth and dimension to the face so it's not so flat. You want to contour where you want a more sunken, more smaller, more snatched look. You don't want any attention brought to there. You want it to be a little more harsh, but at the same time blended. So I go in and I blend around those areas. And with the cheekbones, you want to blend up. You want to make sure that you are not pushing that product down into your into your face or to your lips. You want it to be blended up towards your hairline, towards your ears, to give a more uplifted look. You want almost like a facelift. So yeah, I bring that to the side of my nose as well, just a little bit of like the leftover. I'm not going to go in and like contour my nose or shade it or any of those things. I also press that contour into my hairline. That's just going to create a look of a smaller forehead. If you have a tiny forehead, you really don't need to do this step. It's just something that I do. My forehead isn't even that big, but I do it anyway. I then go back in again with that contour stick and just do a tiny bit at my cheekbone just to create a little more depth because I just wanted it a little darker, a little harsher, a little, more. But that's just me. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. So yeah, pulling that hairline back, making sure I'm getting more of a uplifted look. You want to create a cheekbone. You want to create that a little bit of a sunken look. So yeah, I'm going to go in and I'm going to blend, blend, blend till my fingers fall off. So as I'm doing this, I'm just making sure that there's no harsh lines. There's no really like buildup of product anywhere and everything looks super blended. I'm going to go around my whole face again and make sure that the foundation is blended, that there's no creases anywhere. I bring it down my neck a bit, any excess product. Yeah. I'm then going to go in with the Shape Tape Concealer in Fair. And I'm just going to create a triangle look, and this is going to brighten the face. You want this part of your face to come forward. You want it to be bright. You want to, cover any of those dark circles. You want to highlight the center of your face. So that's why you're going to go in with about a shade and a half, 2 shades lighter than your face, as much brightness as you want to bring. And then we're going to blend it out with the same beauty blender and just make sure that it doesn't crease. Any concealer that you get, you want to make sure does not crease under your eyes. That is one of the biggest problems with concealers, and everybody has it. You just have natural lines under your eyes, and if you don't conceal that right away and make sure that you get rid of excess buildup there before it dries, you're going to have a problem. So just really make sure you blend that out. You're going to start in the real corners of your eyes and blend it out. That's how I blend my concealer. I just feel like that's just what works for me, what makes it easier to blend out any of those harsh lines and really cover up any of my problem areas. You want to make sure you don't bring that over the contour that you just did, because it's going to defeat the purpose. And you want to make sure that when you blend your forehead, you don't go too high up, too much to the side. It's really just the center that you want to brighten and make sure that that's what's accented. I then go in with a Makeup Forever concealer brush in 244, and I just get in the real corners there where I can't get with the brush without messing up my eyeshadow. I mean, not the brush, the sponge, without messing up my eyeshadow, and I just really make sure I blend that out. And get rid of any of those creases, and I just go back in with that sponge again and really get in there, making sure I'm stamping nice and firmly to make sure. I'm talking to my sister right now, don't mind me with the faces. She wanted to give me a stocking that she forgot to give me for Christmas. Almost a month late, but it's the thought that counts, right? So yeah, I'm just going in again on my nose, making sure that there's no creases, and I'm going to go back in with that sponge and blend it out. Oh, there she is, creeping in. So yeah. So once we're done blending that all out, I'm going to spray some Fix Plus all over my face just to make sure, we melt all of that contour, that concealer, that foundation together, and really just make sure it stays in place and it just really just looks like skin. So I'm going to fan my face like you just saw, ever so awkwardly, and I'm going to pick up that same Morphe sponge and just make sure everything is blended, there's no creases. So yeah, I'm then going to go in and I'm going to pick up the Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder in number 130, which is also buff beige. I pick that up on my sponge, and I make sure that that sponge is not too wet. So you want to squeeze it, and as long as there's no water coming out of it, you're good to go. If there's water, just make sure you take a paper towel or something, really squeeze it good. Make sure it's not too wet, because that's going to ruin your foundation and just destroy everything you just did, which is just pointless and will make you cry. So yeah, go around and just set your whole entire face. Make sure that you get in, wherever you crease, just make sure you set that first, around your nose, underneath your eyes. Make sure that you are really pressing it into the skin so that it doesn't look cakey. And I like to do my powders with a sponge these days. I just feel like it helps it look less fake, less cakey. It makes it look like skin. It really, melts into your skin. It really just looks super beautiful and flawless, almost like airbrushed. So yeah, go in and you just press that all over, making sure, you get all of your creases, all your fine lines, and just really push it into the skin. So after that, I'm going to pick up my e.l.f. bronzer in Sun-Kissed Glow, I believe it is. Let me see if I could find it. Here it is. Yes, Sun-Kissed Glow. And I use the Real Techniques brush in number 100, and I just go in and I just bronze. So when you bronze, you want to bronze wherever the sun would hit your face. So your high points, your cheekbones, your top of your forehead. This is not the same thing as contouring. So with bronzing, you're using warmer tones because you want it to look like a sun-kissed glow. Literally exactly what it says it's going to do. That's what you want it to look like. You're not going in and contouring and creating any, harsh lines or any, hollowness. That is not what this is doing. So after I bronze, I go in and I contour. So contour always has more of a taupey gray undertone. You don't want warm tones when it comes to contouring. So you just want to create a cheekbone, and you want to create a smaller forehead. You want to create a more snatched nose. That's what you're doing when you contour. So I go in and I use the Makeup Forever brush in number 152, and I just go right in that cheekbone area, right around that forehead, and I just really take the, what did I use? I use the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I use the lightest contour color in it, and that is Sombre. So I go in, I do that, and then we're going to pick up the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in Fair. I'm going to take that same Morphe sponge we've been using all day and take the flat side, and I'm going to carve out my cheekbones. So I'm going to go from the center of my ear to the corner of my mouth. I'm also going to do my chin, so I'm basically creating a beard. And then right after that, I'm going to also do underneath my eyes. This is going to clean up any of the contour, the bronzer, and it's really going to make sure everything is exactly where we want it to be. We want lighter on the underneath our cheekbones, lighter under our eyes, lighter in the center of our forehead. This is going to basically reinforce the highlighting we just did and the contouring we just did all in one. So when you highlight underneath your eyes, you want to make sure you get right underneath there. You want to make sure you get your fine line. You want to also, what I basically contour my nose by baking. I go right next to the bridge of my nose on either side, like literally right where your bridge of your nose goes to your side of your nose, and that's going to create a more snatched, a more straight, a more defined nose without going in and like shadowing it and contouring it and doing all that, which I do, but just not for like a daytime look. So yeah, I'm then going to go in and I'm just going to blend that contour and that bronzer together, making sure it looks nice and soft and gradient and it's not too harsh. And then I am going to shadow underneath my eyes. I always like a little shadow under the eye. I hate when it's very bare and very, I'm talking about my lash line. I don't like when it's too bright under there. I just feel like it's like a little too much, and this just makes it a little softer, and it helps that smoky eye stay nice and round and beautiful. So I'm going to go in with those two same colors that I went in with before, and the same Morphe M441 brush. And that's with Silk Cream and Pukey. And I'm just going to start on the outer corner and bring it in a little bit, and I'm just going to run that just the tiniest bit under my eyes. I'm not smoking them out too much because, like I said, this is more daytime. It's not like a crazy nighttime look. So to help yourself do this, you can look up so you're not like poking yourself in the eye if you're like somebody who like that bothers you. And then I just ever so light handedly, as you can see in the video, I'm like holding the ends of the brush. That's going to make sure you have a really light hand. Make sure you tap off that excess and just keep it super light. So when I'm done doing this, I am going to pick up that bronzer. I'm actually going to pick up a different bronzer. I go in with the NARS, what is it? I think it's the NARS Laguna Bronzer. And this is like a little deeper than the e.l.f. one. And I almost have like none left. I actually have to pick up more. And I just go in just the tiniest bit and just like deepen that like literally not even a pinch. And then picking up the Milani Luminoso blush. I just do like a tiny little splash of color on my cheeks just to brighten it up a bit and give a little like I'm alive look. Some color, some blood flow. Yeah, and then I'm gonna take my favorite ever blending brush, which is the Sephora airbrush brush in number 55, and I just really buff off that baking powder. And when I say you need to buff this off, I mean you need to buff this off. If you don't, you're gonna get a flashback. Nobody likes that. It's not cute. It's not pretty. So I'll go over this like 100 times and make sure it's really off and really blended into the skin. So really make sure that there's no white cast or any of that good stuff. Yeah. And when I go under my eyes, I try not to go too harsh and really pull the skin just because that's like very delicate skin and you want to try to preserve it for as long as possible. And then I just go in and I really just blend everything together again because I'm crazy and I will blend everything forever. And I just feel like it makes it look more pretty. So yeah, go in and blend, blend, blend. And then when I'm done blending, I'm going to pick up the Cargo Cosmetics eyeliner in black. And I'm just going to go right in the corner of my waterline and really just like kind of just put a tiniest bit of product there. It's just going to help bring a little depth to the corner of the eyes. Nothing crazy. And then I pick up that same Fix Plus by MAC. And you know me and that awkward fan my face. And then I pick up my new favorite highlighter at the moment, which is the Wet n Wild in I think it's Blossom Glow, and the fan brush by Sephora number 65. Yes, and I'm just gonna put that on my cheekbones, a little bit above my brow, and down my nose, and a little highlight mustache. Never hurt nobody. And I don't know what happened to my camera, but it went out for this part. So then I did my lips, and I just quickly lined them with Dolce K by Kylie. And then I went in with the NYX Butter Gloss in Madeline. And then that is it. We are done for this look. Guys, I hope you love this look. I loved creating it for you. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while now, so I really hope you learned something and you loved it. Give me a like, comment down below, subscribe, let me know what you want to see next. Thanks, guys. Bye.